Greetings, everyone. My name is Alexis Villanueva, and I'm the administrator of the ICC Academy for the International Coaching Community. I want to give you a warm welcome to our webinar today. We're going to have a wonderful session with Guillermo Mendoza. I would like to verify if you can hear me and see the screen. So if you could please raise your hand on the application to let us know that you can hear us well, that you can see the image. Thank you very much. Yes, I can see some hands. Excellent, great. So that means that everything's okay. I'd like to remind you that during the session, you are welcome to write your comments, questions, answers to the trainers' questions in the chat, and when the time comes, they will be addressed. If you have any questions, just write them right there and everything will be answered. So right now I'm going to give you a warm welcome. I want to welcome Guillermo Mendoza, who's going to give us our wonderful webinar today. Hi, Guillermo, how are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you. Happy to be here and to share with the community some of the experience that I have had with executive coaching. So I'm going to start, and today is about successful executive coaching management. And when we prepared the information to market this webinar, we mentioned about several things that we were going to discuss today. Some of them related to the before, during, and after. So how can I be better at selling my executive coaching and getting engagement? And how can I be better at doing it and being better at managing and administering those engagements? And then what can I do also at the end? So today, this is our topic, and I'm going to start by setting up our goals for today. So what we are going to discuss today is first some ideas on how to prepare for being recruited as an executive coach. What are the things that are basic stuff that I need to get ready, that I need to prepare before I get these engagements. Then we are going to talk a little bit about the executive coaching process management, and then the process itself. How do we kick off the process, how we manage communications during the process, and then how we close the process. The idea is to give you some tools in terms of the structure, but mainly, as I said, my experience by working now several years with executive coaching and several years where we have been selling our own executive coaching processes, but also where we have been subcontracted by other companies, larger coaching companies, to work with executives in many organizations and in many places and countries. So let's get this started. So for being recruited, the first things that you need to prepare to market yourself and to sell yourself as an executive coach, it's first to start by the who are you? And one of the things that it's important in marketing, we have been hearing this for many years, is that we need to be better at being experts on something, being very specific on what we bring to the market, what we offer to our clients. So the first thing that I want to recommend for you if you want to enter this market is stop calling yourself a coach. When they ask you, what are you, a coach? Coach is very general. You need to be specific and call yourself executive coach, because that's the market you want to work in, and that's the name that you need to use. And even you need to go, as we do with the funnel of questions when we are coaching people, and we are going from general to specific, and we are finding the root of the problem or the root of the goal or what the client wants to do. The same is with your marketing. It's not enough to be an executive coach. To market yourself and to have good interviews with possible companies that are going to contract with you, or either coaching organizations or final clients, you need to be more specific, because one of the common questions now that we are getting more and more specialized is, okay, you are an executive coach, but what kind of leaders are you coaching? What kind of executives are you coaching? They want you to be more of an expert on a specific level of leaders. So some examples here of finding a niche within the niche are some coaches like to work with C-level, meaning working with the top level executives in organizations like the CEO, vice president, senior vice presidents, etc. Some others work with high potentials or emerging leaders, those that are being like prepare and train, and they are mentor, and all the organization is giving them all the necessary things to be the future presidents, vice presidents, or C-level executives in the organizations. And then you can have also the frontline supervisors, the leaders that are dealing with the first level of contact with clients, or even leading with operational people at a factory or a manufacturing facility. And you can also have in companies what it's called the independent contributors, those that don't have people reporting to them, but they could be at very high levels in the organization, acting in different roles as independent contributors. So it's important that you find what is the kind of client that you like to work more with, and define that as your niche within the niche. And when they ask you what kind of leader do you coach, you can say, well, this is my market, this is my preference, this is my sweet spot, this is the kind of leader that I like to work. It could be several of these categories, but it's always better when you specialize. So in my case, just to give you an example, when they ask me in interviews for potential contractors or clients, what is your type of client? Well, I work with C-level executives, so the top executive roles in the organization, and also with high potential emerging leaders, with people that are learning to move from being a manager to being a leader, and understanding different changes and mindsets that they need to have, including improving their emotional skills and things like that. So that's my sweet spot, as they call it. That's the kind of client that I prefer, and that's the client that I am specializing in. So this is something that you need to be very clear and have as part of your marketing before you start promoting yourself. The next thing is on being recruited is not the who, but the what. So what is your style? What are the tools that you use? What is your personal touch? And you need to be prepared to answer questions on those topics. So you can say, I work with, and basically present what is the kind of knowledge or tools or practice or coaching that you like or that you use when you are working with clients. So you can be a coach that maybe you work focusing on the strengths, or that you like to incorporate concepts from neuroscience or emotional intelligence, or that you help your client with language patterns or with kinesthetic tools, or maybe with some things from positive psychology, or maybe you work with a specific methodology. So you need to be very clear to potential clients on what do you use for your coaching work. The other important topic is to be clear on what is your preferred method of delivering your services. If you are a coach that works face-to-face, you work by video conference, you work by phone. When I train for as you know, I am an ICC trainer. So when we train professional coaches, I always tell them that they need to define this, because in the market, these are all these different ways to work with clients. Even when you read the surveys or the studies on the coaching market, there are even coaches that work by email or text. So there are many ways to deliver the services and help people, but you need to be very clear on what is your style and what is acceptable for you and not acceptable for you. And again, as an example, since I got certified, and for many, many years I have been coaching, and I had never had a coaching session over the phone, because that's my preference. And I tell my clients, we will work either face-to-face, or the most close way to work face-to-face is that we can work through Zoom or Skype or FaceTime and have a video conference. But I don't coach over the phone, because that's important for me as a coach. But I know coaches that they exclusively work over the phone. And they are even sharing with us that they have become experts on recognizing the voice tone and the differences in the voice that compensate for the visuals that they are lacking. So it's not good and bad on this. It's just what is your preference and how do you work, and be clear with your clients on what your way of working. Also, sometimes it's important for your clients or potential people contracting with you, what is your background? Your background is in human resources, psychology, technology, consumer goods, retail, oil and energy. What is your background? Have you been a manager and leader yourself or not? Things like that. And as we know in coaching, we are experts on the coaching methodology and asking. So it's not necessary that we have a background or experience or knowledge to do a good job coaching, but clients are many times curious, and also there is a lot of misinformation in the market from from those that are buying the coaching services, and sometimes they want to see that your background or your experience is aligned to the client that you are going to deal with. That's why it's also important to have that. And finally, what is your experience? Because if you have been working as a coach, well, you have been accumulating hours and clients and different challenges that you have had as a coach. And it's important to mention, okay, mainly or either because of that's my marketing, I'm very good at getting people from the financial sector, or sometimes even because of just luck. Maybe there is an industry that calls me more than others. Again, it's not by design. In my case, for example, I have been working in previous years and this year as well a lot with companies from the car manufacturing industry. So companies that are either building cars or building parts for cars, or tire companies, things like that. And it's not that I made a goal of myself to go after this industry. It just happened that that's been in my experience, and it's becoming like a niche as well for me. So it's important to mention that. And also because we are located in Houston, I've been accumulating also experience in the oil and energy industry. So those are some important points sometimes for people considering hiring you, because they want to know if you know the lingo of the industry, if you have some knowledge of what's going on in those industries, etc. So those things are things to prepare before you start promoting yourself. And then the other one is you have the who, you have the what, and the other one is the how. So you need to be very clear, and we recommend a lot to new coaches that get certified to spend some time defining important things for their business, important things for the way they are going to offer their service and practice. Like you need to define what is the length of your process, because there are many options. Maybe you offer X number of sessions. Maybe you offer to your clients a monthly retainer that includes 1 or 2 sessions per month. But you need to be very clear on what is your offering. So in our case, for example, when they ask us how do you work, well, our process is usually 10 sessions. That's the way we work. It could be longer, it could be shorter, but not shorter than 6 sessions. That's the minimum that we like to work with a client to see results. And in general, we offer 10 session processes. So we have defined that for our business and the way that we promote ourselves. Also, it's important to define what is the length of your session. Some coaches work with a 30-minute sessions, 40-minute sessions, 1-hour sessions, 1 hour and a half sessions. But you need to be very clear with your clients how do you work on that. When I started working as executive coach, my sessions, because that was the recommendation from my trainer when I got certified, were 1 hour and a half. And I did for maybe about a year, I did 1 hour and a half sessions. But then I realized, maybe because I got better using my tools or my structure, that 1 hour was good enough to serve my clients. So I reduced my session length to 1 hour. And that's what I have been doing for many, many years. Also, the frequency is a common question from potential clients. How often we are going to meet? Are we going to meet every month, every week? And also that's something that I guess it's a combination of your own policy, but also I always tell my clients, it's important that this is depending on the rhythm that they want to work, on how busy they are, how fast they're working with their actions and plans, and basically they decide how often to meet. What I do is I establish a boundary, and that boundary is I don't want to meet more than 4 weeks separation. So the minimum we need to meet once a month. That's my minimum. So we don't lose the rhythm, we don't lose the timing on the work. And how often it could be every other week, it could be every 3 weeks. Even if we have a process where we are checking something very, very fast and my client has a very fast rhythm, it could be even weekly. But usually the average is 3 weeks. And I'm clear with my clients that I don't want them to not schedule a meeting at least once a month. Also, when sometimes when I'm selling, or sometimes in my kickoff session, I'm very clear to tell my clients what is the structure of my session, so they know what to expect in every session. So I explain them that in every session we are going to review the actions from the previous session. that we are going to set the goal for that specific meeting, and that's something that they are going to provide what is good for them in that 60 minutes. And then we are going to use the coaching tools. We are going to use questions, forms, format, all the different things that are needed to help him or help her achieve that goal for the session. And then at the end, I'm always closing with reviewing what are the actions that we are structuring for the next session, what are the learnings from this session, and what are things that they are taking away or they are going to do different. And also confirming if they achieve the goal that they wanted to do at the beginning of the session. So that's another important thing to have in mind and to be able to share with potential clients. Also, of course, you need to be very clear about what is the investment and what is the way that they are going to pay you. So don't be prepared. What I'm trying to achieve with this, you need to get prepared with all this information. So when a client asks you, when a potential client asks you, you are not just making up a number or trying to answer some of these questions. You already have a very clear picture in your mind on how your business operates for executive coaching. As you can check in several studies on the coaching profession or the coaching industry, for executive coaching, the average is now between $250 and $300 per hour. But that's going to change a lot depending on how you are being hired. I can give you, again, as an example, in Impact Coaching Solutions, in our company, when we sell directly to a client, our rate is $350 per hour. But when we are subcontracted by a larger company, they are setting the conditions, and it's usually lower than that. And in many cases, they are charging maybe the $350 or even more, maybe $500 or more. But when they are subcontracting coaches for executive coaching, what we have found in the market is that they offer anything between $100 or $125 all the way to $200 or $250. So that's the way that is the market is now on executive coaching. And finally, how are you going to be paid? You need to establish your policies on that as well. So in our case, we tell the client they need to pay the full process in advance, or they can pay half of the process. And then when we are midpoint around session number 5, they can pay the other half. But I have seen in the market different options with these. Some coaches like to charge their client session per session. Some coaches like to have like a monthly retainer where they offer X number of sessions per month and maybe additional services or tech support or emails. So there are several ways to do it. Again, you need to define what is your policy on that and work on that. So those 3 slides were about how to get prepared before I go out to the market and start selling my services as an executive coach. So now that I have all those things defined and I can answer those questions in interviews, in emails, with potential clients, with potential large coaching organizations, now I am ready. And what I need to do is to go over the cycle of market, engage, sell, and close. So I need to promote myself. I need to engage with potential buyers. That could be executives or that could be large coaching organizations. Then I need to sell, and then I need to close the sale and start working with them. So let's explore each of these 4 parts of the selling yourself cycle and see what are the key areas that you need to take into consideration for each of these steps. So first, to market, one of the things that I insist a lot, and we include in the marketing portion of our coaching certification, we talk a lot about the biography page. And the biography page is a key element to promoting yourself. What I have found in my experience is that in many cases, when not so much for the final client, for the executive, but when a larger coaching organization or human resources is considering to hire you as a coach for someone, it's very common that they ask you, okay, please send me your biography page. And we have another 1-hour webinar on the elements of the biography page and what needs to be included there. But that's your like your business card. That's where you have all your information, examples of engagements, your niche, the type of executives you deal with, the tools that you use or your style or methodologies, the markets that you work with. It's a one-page front and back with all the information about yourself that you can use to distribute to potential clients. So that's a very important element. I use it a lot. It's very, very, very commonly requested. The other one is LinkedIn, and it's very important that you become an expert on LinkedIn, that you have a good profile on LinkedIn. That's the way the market is looking for vendors, for providers for different services, and coaching is not an exception. Many of the clients that I have had in the past, especially from large coaching organizations, is because they found me in LinkedIn and they sent me a request about my services because they saw in LinkedIn my experience, my clients, engagement. So don't think of LinkedIn as a page to promote your curriculum or resume. It's a page to really use it as your website. You can have videos, you can have testimonials, you can have information about how you work, you can have a PowerPoint slide deck to present your services. You can do a lot of stuff in LinkedIn. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you my link or my URL to my LinkedIn page, so you can check mine as an example. I still have work to do, but I have tried to use it as an equivalent of a website where I have all the information that a potential client needs from me, so they can know me better and they can understand my style, my markets, etc., and make a decision. The other one, of course, is the website. Many new coaches start by working on their websites to promote their services. I have it here for a specific reason in third place. In my mind and from my experience, I think it's more important that you work in your biography page and in your LinkedIn before working on your website, because that's where you are going to get more from your investment on time and effort. Of course, a website is useful, is good. If you can make the investment or create your own with one of the tools that are in the market, it's very important you have a website where you explain again some of the things that you have in your biography page, like what are your services, what is your style. Maybe you can have, now that technology has evolved, you can have things that before were not common in the website. Like you can have a link to your calendar so they can set a demo meeting with you or a meeting with you to chat about your services. You can have a chat section where they can ask questions within your website. So there are many things that you can add to make it more appealing and also more easy for your potential buyers to buy. And before I forget, something that is very important is that you need to be very visible, very public. So don't be afraid to use your phone number, your email, in your biography page, in your LinkedIn page, in your website, because what you want is people to find you. Of course, the downside of that, also, but in my experience, is that you are going to get a lot of information and calls and emails and requests from people that are trying to sell you many things, from systems to be a better coach, to systems to be a better marketer of your coaching services, from systems to be better in social media. You are going to get, of course, a lot of advertising and requests. But that's to me that's the price to pay to be visible. But I want, when someone is looking for me, I want them to find me easy. So that's the reason I recommend that. Then to market also, of course, you need social media. It's very important that you are active in outlets. I am not very good at that. Sometimes I'm active, sometimes I'm not. And part of the reason is that social media now is overwhelming, because you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have Snapchat, you have now the live events in Facebook or Periscope or Twitter. So it's getting more and more options, more outlets for social media, and that's getting really overwhelming for us to market ourselves in those sites. What I have heard from experts, it's a good recommendation that you pick which one is the one that works better for you. So it may be posting in LinkedIn, it may be Twitter, it may be Facebook, but find your preferred one and be more active on that one and post more on that one. And maybe the other ones you don't have to pay so much attention to. Also, there are some tools in the market when you can replicate what you post in Twitter. There are systems where you can just add your post and it will be replicated in 3 to 5 6 different social media sites. Like in my case, sometimes I have connected my Twitter, so when I post in Twitter, it automatically posts in Facebook or the other way around, and you can do things like that. I am not the best example for this recommendation, but I know that the best way to promote your executive coaching services is to be very active posting in LinkedIn. Because in LinkedIn, you have your profile, but you also have this page or wall where you are seeing articles and videos and recommendations from people and a lot of stuff. And that's an area where you can post your knowledge about coaching or articles or blogs or videos. And that's a way to get more leads for your business. And finally, you can market in associations. When I joined coaching associations like the International Coach Federation here in the US or the ICF chapter in Houston or associations in other places, at the beginning, I thought that I was going to find only my peers, only competitors that I do. But I have been really surprised that in coaching associations, it's not only coaches. Sometimes you will find people that is getting close to these meetings or these associations to understand what is coaching and maybe to find a coach. And you also can find people that are your colleagues, but they are part of a larger project where they need more coaches, or they are part of a larger coaching organization that is needing coaches. So associations are a great way to promote yourself. So if you join an association, make sure that you are in the membership directory, that you have a good profile in your membership directory. And actually, if you are, and I imagine most of you are a graduate from the International Coaching Community Certification Program, the ICC has a section where you can have your profile. And when people look for you, and they can look with filters like looking for people in a specific country or a specific name or a specific type of coaching, you will be found in the membership of the International Coaching Community. But what is sad from my point of view is that most of the coaches in that directory don't have to spend some time on improving their profile in the directory. So when you go to the ICC membership directory and you look for a coach, you only find their name and email. And the system allows you to also include your social media links, so a description of what you do, your market, the countries where you are willing to coach, many other important information for potential clients looking for you. And you are going to have a competitive advantage because sadly, most coaches don't spend the time to improve those profiles. So it's a good idea to go there and fix it and make it look good. So that's for marketing. When you are marketing, then you are going to get potential leads. You are going to get potential people that want your services. And then we move to the next stage, which is engage. And to engage a business, well, you are going to see that there are many ways to do it. One is there are coaching companies. What I meant here in this slide by coaching businesses is that there are large coaching organizations that have hire maybe coaches as employees, but also they have sometimes projects where they need more coaches. So it's not uncommon, or has not been uncommon for us in Impact Coaching Solutions, that a good portion of our business is not because the clients are hiring us directly. It's because we are part of a team in a larger coaching organization that has a large project with an organization. So it's important to find what are the large coaching organizations in your market, what are the maybe large consulting companies or consulting firms that are offering coaching to their clients, and sometimes they need extra hands, they need extra coaches for the project, and that's a good way to find some engagement. Of course, LinkedIn network, your own LinkedIn network, you can reach out to friends, colleagues, and ask around and keep in touch with old friends and people from previous jobs, and always make sure that your network is aware that you are a coach and that you are an expert on executive coaching and that you are looking for business. Another way to engage with people, of course, is being active on if your website has a blog or if you have an independent blog, try to be active on publishing articles. And also now it's very common that studies show that people are getting more and more lazy to read and more willing to check a video. So it's a little contradictory, because sometimes they're more willing to see a 30-minute video than to spend 10 minutes reading an article. But the truth is that videos are more attractive for people, more appealing. So another system is to start doing video blogs instead of blogs. And you can see again an example of this if you go to our website, icscoach.com. We have a section for a video blog there, and you can see what I've been doing with that. It's basically short clips, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just to share some coaching concept or knowledge or something that can help your potential client. And in that way, you can engage with them, and you can also get potential leads. Post activity, I mentioned that already on the market part. Post activity means that you need to be very active on your social media outlets and post about articles, recommendations, even your own activities. If you mention that you are coaching in X organization, or you are going to a congress, or you are going to a coaching conference, your potential clients are watching with your post activity that you are improving yourself to be a better coach, because you are always learning and training, but also that you are dealing with some specific clients, and they can see that you are active as a coach. So that's very important. Just remember that the ethics of coaching are confidentiality, part of the ethics of coaching. So if you are going to talk about a client that you are coaching, you always need to first get his permission or her permission to mention the name, because you need to keep not only the information of your client, but even the name of your client is confidential unless you are authorized to use it. Then the last one on engagement is network. And by network, I mean, don't just join the associations and the directory of the association. Go to the meetings, go to the monthly meetings, network with people, network with other coaches, or go to other associations. In the case of the United States, other than the International Coach Federation, there is also the Association for Talent Development, which is very active with training and coaching. And it's also the Society for Human Resources Management, that also has a lot of people dealing with leadership. And there are leadership associations as well. So you can join those associations and network to find people that are looking for coaching services. So once you market and you engage, then it comes the time to sell. You have a person that is interested, and now you need to sell. Now, let me give you my tips or tricks or best practices of what has worked for me to make the sell. Usually from the engage part, I'm going to get a potential company, either a large coaching organization or a final client, that want to engage with me for services. But to make the decision, it's very common that they are going to have an initial meeting with me. And that meeting could be to talk about my style and my coaching and how I do it in the case of large coaching organizations. And in the case of final clients, it's what it's called the chemistry interview, because more and more in the executive coaching market, executives are giving options for coaches. So usually HR gives them 2 or 3 coaches, so they can have a short 30-minute interview with each of them and see with which one they feel better, with which one they feel the chemistry is better, so they can make their selection. I have been fortunate that I am, when I have my chemistry interviews, I have a very good success rate. Many of those interviews become clients. And the reason that happens is because of these best practices that I have in this box. The first one is, when you have an interview with a coaching organization, take notes about the meeting, and send after the meeting, send your notes to the person and tell her or tell him, this is what I understood from the project. This is what I understood from your needs. This is what I think that you're needing, and this is the way I can help. And when you send those notes back, that shows your professionalism. That shows that you listen. That shows that you capture the information in the right way. And it's a very, very good note for you. It's going to get you points to make the sale. The other one is make a formal proposal. Even when you have a client that just asks you over the phone, okay, what is your pricing? How long are the sessions? How many sessions? don't leave it like that. Again, in executive coaching, it's going to make you more professional if you create a formal proposal. And this could be just a couple of PowerPoint slides that you send to the potential client telling them, okay, it was great chatting with you. It was great to have a conversation with you. And this is the way I will work. This is my proposal. It's going to cost you this. This is the investment. And this is the number of sessions. This is the length of the sessions. This is the way we can work. So the formal proposal, again, is going to get you good points. In your chemistry interviews, they're very, very clear. The way I manage my chemistry interviews is that I ask my potential client first if they have had coaching before, and I clarify what coaching is and what coaching is not. And then I ask them to tell me about their context, their challenges, what are they expecting from the coaching process. So remember that for selling, you first need to know the needs of your client. So the same happens with a chemistry interview. Instead of just spending a lot of time selling yourself, first ask, okay, what is your context? What are your challenges? What are you expecting from this coaching process? Because that information is going to give you a lot of critical points where you can now start selling better to this person. So once they tell me that, then I just chat a little bit about first my experience or credentials, how many years I have been coaching, where I got certified, what was my background, some of the questions that we review in the first slide, the way I work, and then I clarify to my clients so they know what to expect. I tell them, this is the length of my session, this is the structure of my session, this is the frequency that I recommend, this is the way I work. And one of the key things that I share in that session is telling them that I am going to, that coaching works under complete confidentiality, because that's very important for a client to know that his information or her information is completely private. I tell them, it doesn't matter that your sponsor is your manager. It doesn't matter that your company is paying for this. Your information is 100% sealed. It's just between you and me. If I need to prepare a report for HR or for your manager, I am going to prepare it, check it with you first, and if you approve it, then we will send it. So that's an important point to make your client feel comfortable, because the next thing that I tell them is, for our coaching engagement to work, I'm going to be very honest with you, and I need you to be very honest with you. That's why these chemistry interviews, that's why we need to trust each other and be very open and trust in the confidentiality, because sometimes I'm going to tell you things that I see and that you are not seeing. Sometimes I'm going to tell you, you know what, did you notice that this is a contradiction, or did you notice that you are telling one thing and doing another? Things like that. And they like that, and they like that. And once you are done with that 30-minute interview, or 15 minutes or whatever, again, it's a very important thing that is going to gain you points, that you write an email and you tell that person, it was great chatting with you, it was great meeting you. This is what I got from our chemistry interview. I understood that these are your challenges, these are your expectations from the coaching process, this is what you want help with, this is what I understood. And you send that note or that email to your potential client. And the last point here is send a gift. And by sending a gift, I mean, sometimes I also send like something like, hey, you know what, I found this article on recognition. And since you mentioned that you wanted help on working with recognition, I thought that this article might be interesting for you. And I send an article on a topic that they mentioned. Or maybe I send a good book that I know that is going to help them. So these are key points that you need to use in your interviews with coaching organizations or with final clients, so they can see that you are professional, that you listen, that you are registering the information, and that you are good at this. So they can finally, when they need to make a decision, they can decide to work with you. When I start working with clients in executive coaching after a chemistry interview, one of the first questions that I ask them is, why did you pick me? Just for marketing purposes, could you share with me, I know that you interview with 2 or 3 people, why did you pick me as your coach? And I think that's a very important question for you from the marketing perspective, because you need to understand what is the strength that they are seeing in you that is selling you, so you can use it more often. I can tell you that in many occasions, the answer that I get is because you send me those notes and you understood what I'm dealing with and what I want to do. So those notes are very important. In some other occasions, they have told me, because I thought that you were very open and honest and told me that sometimes you are going to tell me things that I'm not going to like, but I need someone tough to keep me accountable and to reach my goals. So it's a mix of things depending on your strengths as a coach and your style. But just I wanted to share as an example a couple of things that I have heard when I asked them, why did you pick me? And finally, to close the sale, it's important to follow up because people are busy. Coaching organizations are busy. They are interviewing many coaches to make the team, or they are, or in the case of clients, they have 2-3 chemistry interviews, and then they have the day-to-day operations. They are really busy. They forget and they don't follow up. So it's very important if you want to get more executive coaching engagements that every other week you send an email to the potential client or the coaching organization, just like, hey, I'm following up. We had this meeting, or we had this chemistry interview. How are you doing? Did you reach a decision? How are you doing with your project? Am I able to be part of the team to help? Just follow up on what is the project doing, because sometimes what you get back is, oh, thank you for reaching out. We were really busy. Thank you for reaching out. We will review this with the client, or I will make my decision, or whatever. And then to close, you also need to prepare an agreement. If you are selling directly, you need to have a format that you use with your client. And that agreement explains what are the roles and responsibilities of the client and the coach, and also payment and cancellations and things like that. If you are working with a large coaching organization that is contracting you, most of the times they have already the agreements for clients, and they will send it to you just for signature. And they are going to have 2 agreements. They send you one that is the agreement between you as a coach and the large coaching organization. And then there is another agreement, which is the agreement between the client and the coaching organization. So you need to prepare agreements, sign agreements, and then it's always a good practice also to send a welcome email once that everything is formalized, to say thank you for choosing me, or thank you for start working with me, and this is what is coming up. We will start with our first session, or we will start with an assessment, or whatever it is. But just welcoming the client to that decided to take your services, and then of course schedule the first appointment and start working with a client. So I know that we took a lot of time in this slide, but to me this is the critical part of being more successful with executive coaching engagement. Market yourself, engage with your marketing, sell in the right way, and then close the sale. And that's going to bring you more business as executive coach. Now let's get into a little bit of the details of what happens before, during, and after once I am engaged as a coach for an executive. The most important thing to remember is that with executive coaching, you don't have a client. You have several clients. And it's very important to keep that in your mind, because you have your coachee, the person that you are going to help, that's your main client. But you also have his or her boss that has some expectations of the process. And you also have human resources that has other set of needs and expectations. And usually there is a program coordinator, either an internal coordinator, an external coordinator, sometimes both. And those coordinators also have some expectations, and they need some things from you. And then you have the administration and finance part that is dealing with agreements and invoices and payments and all that. And that's another client. So as an executive coach, you need to keep in mind that you are serving several clients and not only one. And that you need to be, if you want more engagements and if you want to be successful, you need to keep in mind that you want not 1, but 5 or maybe 6 satisfied clients. And you want them to be happy with the way you work, they're happy with the way you report information, they're happy with the way you deliver your services, etc. So what I have done here for you is a table on these 5 clients and what are their needs, when they need that, and what are the key documents that you need to be aware that are part of an executive coaching process. And So you thought it was easy, no? It is a little complex. I can tell you that in terms of administration, life coaching is much easier. In terms of the challenges do you deal with, sometimes life coaching is harder. But as you can see in this table, in terms of management, executive coaching is a little more complex. So for your coachee, the client, you, of course, what he needs or what she needs is your coaching. And you are going to do that in every session. And key documents that you need to manage with your client are the initial agreement, the notes from the session, sometimes assessments. And actually, I need to add in this table also the action plan that is very commonly requested by coaching organizations and large organizations. You need to create a coaching plan with your coachee that he is going to communicate to top management or human resources. Then with your client's manager, with her boss or his boss, that person needs results. That person is expecting a change, and they want to define how is that going to be measured. And when do you have contact with the boss or the sponsor? Is usually at the beginning, sometimes at the end. In most of the engagements that I have had is usually at the beginning, at the end. And the key documents that are important for the manager of your client is how are you going to align the goals? And that's usually a short phone call conversation after the first or second or third session. Once you have that action plan, then you need to present it to upper management. And of course, the action plan itself. And then you might have a format for a mid-process report. That means that you are halfway of the engagement when you are in session. In our case, when we are in session 5, sometimes we present a mid-process report. And then a final report once the engagement is finished. Then human resources is going to need a smooth flow operation. They don't want problems. They want that everything is working okay. And they don't want a lot of information. They just want to be informed on a needed basis if there is a problem with the client or cancellations or assessments or things like that. So the communication is when needed. And the key documents, sometimes they request also to be present in that phone call for the action plan or to get a copy of the action plan. And sometimes those are the ones that are asking for a mid-process report or a final report. Then you have the program coordinator. There is a program coordinator within the client organization, but it's usually another program coordinator within the large coaching organization that is subcontracting you. And the program coordinator is your key contact. Usually the program coordinator, they want constant information and updates. They don't want surprises. They want the information immediately as it arises. And they are concerned on things like your time reports, the hours you are coaching, how are you moving forward with your client, potential roadblocks or challenges. Sometimes there are programs where the coordinator has a checklist that you could use to move forward in the process. So it's very important that you have this person satisfied with your services in terms of the information that you are sharing and keeping her always or keeping him always in the loop of everything happening with the client. And finally, there is another person usually that is in charge of sending you the legal contract, the agreement for you to sign, scan, and send back. And also, that's the person that receives your invoices. That's the person that schedules your payments. And that's your contact for everything administrative related. And usually the contact is more at the beginning when you are setting everything up with coaching agreement and invoices, but also sometimes during the process for payments or additional invoices or reporting hours or things like that. So this table gives you a good view of the different things that you need to keep in mind for the different stakeholders or clients that you have when doing executive coaching. Now, when you kick off the process, you are going to have your initial meeting. You are going to define the process goals. I always tell my clients in the first or second meeting that this is like putting together a puzzle. I tell my clients, well, you have several pieces of information here. You have an assessment or several assessments. You have your boss expectations. You have your client challenges, your own challenges, your own knowledge of your context and roles in the organization. So we need to put all that together and decide what are the key goals for your leadership development. And on those key goals, then we are going to have an alignment call with your boss. And in some cases, you will need to, depending on their demands or the requests from the organization that is hiring you, sometimes they want also the client to fill a format, a Word format, or even to prepare a PowerPoint presentation so they can present to the manager and to the HR the leadership development plan that they are going to work with for the rest of the year or for the rest of the engagement. Process communications, just as we mentioned, keep in mind that it's a good idea to have an agreement or two in the case where you are subcontracting with a larger company. And also it's important to define the communication mean to be used, text, phone, emails, or coaching applications. So you are very clear with your client and also with your contractor that what are the means of communication that you are going to use. Also, it's very important to take session notes, and some coaches do it just for themselves. Some coaches do it to share with their clients. There are many ways to do this. I know that coaches that use just the traditional notebook and paper, pen and paper. Others use Evernote or notes in the phone or in the computer or a Word file. In Impact Coaching Solutions, we have found a tool that we like, and I am giving you here the link in our page to go and understand what it is, and from there you can go to explore the tool and use it. And it's called Coach Metrics, and it's been a good tool to register session notes, goals, even to have some feedback from observers of your client on how he or she is doing. So we like the tool. It's very easy to use. It's based on an internet browser, and we recommend it. So far, we have been working with it very good. And other communications that are needed along the process, I mentioned already, sometimes a mid-process report or a final report. So to close the process, when we are finishing the engagement with a client, several things to remember. First, prepare your client one session before the last one. Again, people are busy. They are not counting how many sessions they have. They are not counting if they have sessions left or not. Don't surprise your client in the last session telling them, okay, this is the last time we meet, because sometimes they haven't realized that's the last session. So always, you are the one that is more counting the sessions and the hours. So when you know that you have 2 sessions to go, use the one before the last one to tell your client, okay, we have 1 session remaining. We will meet again one more time. And maybe even ask them to do something. Like in my case, I always tell them in the session before the last one, please prepare a draft on your action plan without a coach. How are you going to continue working on your leadership without a coach? So we can really in the last session and polish it so you have a good plan once we are done and once you don't have my support to work with that plan. So it's important to do that. The other one is have a closing format. And by a closing format, I mean prepare a set of questions or a format in Word or a tool that you use in your last session to close the engagement. And the idea of that format or the idea of that set of questions is that you are going to help your client summarize the experience of the whole coaching process. So you can start by reviewing, okay, where we were when we started, what was your initial state, what has been done, what has been successful for you, what was your experience, what have been the key learnings, what were the roadblocks along the way, what were the great insights or breakthroughs that you found during the coaching process, what are some things that you are still working on, and make sure that you use questions and a format that helps the client realize like what a good summary of the last 6, 9, or 12 months working with you, and thinking of, okay, we started this way, I did this, these are my benefits, this is what I have done, etc., etc. Then another important thing that I know many coaches don't do, and it's been a good part of my marketing, is always ask for a testimonial. So when your client in this last session is telling you, you know what, it was great working with you, thank you, I achieved my goal, or I learned a lot about this, or I were well on my way to finish what I want, etc. Use that opportunity and tell them, okay, could you repeat that and maybe record it in a voice recorder? Or could you tell that in front of camera and just grab your phone and take a video? Or maybe have in your format, in your closing format, already included a section. That's also something that I do. The last question on my closing format is okay, well, these are now my last question for you, or my last this paragraph, and the paragraph is working with Guillermo has been, and I let them talk. And found that. So I allow it, I record it. So that's a testimonial that you're getting, and then you get it, it's very important to ask them, can I use this for marketing purposes? And if they give you the approval, then you can use that quote or that testimonial for promoting your services. Also, it's important to ask, what is next? What is next for you? What else are you going to do in the organization? What other opportunities for coaching or for helping there are in the organization, etc. And have a closing ritual. That closing ritual could be that sometimes what I try to do is the session before the last one, when I warn my client that we have one more to go, I try to schedule with them the last one in a way that, okay, why don't we schedule the last one at a time that we can have lunch together after the session? So that way we can celebrate the closing of the process. Or we can, or I can give them a gift at the last session, maybe a nice notebook for notes, or maybe a book that is useful for them. Or maybe I can just send the gift after I had the last session, just over email or over mail, regular mail. But what is important is that you have something that is going to close the process with a good sense for your client. And after the process, we did the before, the during, and now we are in the after. The after is, don't forget your clients. Remember that all studies about the coaching profession or the coaching industry are showing that the main way to get more clients is referrals. Referrals is by far the best way for coaches to get new clients. Even when LinkedIn is good, even when your website is good, they are not even close to what you get from referrals. So don't forget your clients, touch base periodically, call them once a year at least, or once every 6 months or 3 months. How are you doing? What can I help you with? How is life for you? And how can I help you with? You have many options. Sometimes they want a process extension, but they want to continue working with you for a while to achieve other goals, or because the goal is not done yet. Sometimes they need 1, 2, 3 additional sessions. Sometimes they want, when you touch base, they say, you know what, we worked a year ago or 3 years ago. I would like to have a couple of sessions with you to bounce some ideas. Or sometimes they need assessments to measure if the assessment changed from when they started the process to when they finished the process, or some years later. You can also say, okay, what about your people? They are leaders. They have people working for them. Do you need help with coaching your people? Do you need help with workshops for your people? Who else can I help? Do you have friends, colleagues? So you can also do more marketing and more selling if you stay in touch with your clients after the process, and you keep being available for them or for their networks. So this is what I have. We are almost over the time. I have just a couple of slides more that I want to show you before we close. But I guess this is a good time for to open for a couple of questions about what was being presented on executive coaching.
Excellent.
So if you want to,
if there are any questions, if there are any questions at this point, you feel free to share them on the chat, and we will take a look at them and address them right now. This is the chance. We can also open your microphone if you would like to speak. So let's see who raises their hand or who wants to share on the chat. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Bibi.
Hi. I'm a former coach under Guillermo's instruction, and the question I have for Guillermo is, I have a client right now that hired me month to month, and so that's coming to a close, and I've actually sent them a question to ask them how they want to proceed so I can prepare. So I wanted to ask Guillermo, what is the best way to approach that situation? Because that's kind of hard. I don't know what I'm walking into at this next meeting yet. I would want to prepare them to close the session, but I don't know what they're going to say to me. That's kind of tough.
hi, Vivi. Nice to chat with you.
Yes.
Well, what I do is from the beginning of the process, I'm very clear with my clients that coaching is a tool that is not a lifelong engagement. You have always a set of sessions, like 6, 10
Right.
sessions, 6 months, 12 months, etc. So in my case, my clients know that we are going to reach an end. They know that, and when we are close to reaching that end, it's just when I take the precaution to let them know that we are reaching that point, and then ask them to prepare on that draft plan on how they are going to work without a coach, or in some cases, if they need an extension or if they need additional sessions. But they are already pre-framed, let's say, on the fact that the relationship is going to end once the coaching process is done. I don't know if that's
It is. I
answering
think
your
they
question.
know that they could end this month, but I think that they are in a situation where they're a new startup, so their funds are limited. This is a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they know that it could end. So I kind of want to walk into the session prepared with a conclusion if I have to, but I also want to be prepared to move forward at the same time. It's kind of a tough place to be.
Yeah,
And
I understand that. And it depends also where the client is. Some clients, when you reach the end of the process, they are done with their goal, they did it. Some clients are still working on that and they still need a lot of work to do. And you just put them in the right direction, in the right ways of doing it. But in both cases, I think that you are in the right track if you just prepare your client with, okay, how are you going to work without me? What is your plan?
right.
How else can I help you, and go from there?
That's pretty much where I am. I just want to make sure I'm on the right. You've trained me well in that respect because, you know.
Thank you, Vivi.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering that question and helping me.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. There's another question from Ludmila, and she says, how is asking for a testimonial okay when we have total confidentiality, especially if we ask to record it on a video?
That's why, thank you, Ludmila. And again, nice chatting with you. A long time no see. I will show a slide in a minute. Maybe we will see soon. But just answering your questions, what happens is that is why the key question after the testimonial is, can I use these for marketing purposes? Because if they say, yes, you can do it, that's the way they are agreeing with you, sharing that testimonial. And I have that actually in my format. When I ask that question, I write down that, and I have a place where they can check mark that they authorize that for marketing purposes. If not, it's just I call it's just part of your payment. It's just that satisfaction of getting a good comment from the client that you will not be able to share because he's not authorizing you to share it. It's confidential. It's just part of your payment, just to feel good about what is the perception of your client of working with you or having working with you for so many months. But in the majority of cases, actually, I cannot remember a time when I have asked for a testimonial and someone told me you cannot use it for marketing purposes. Sometimes I think it's in human nature. It's part of your client's way to tell you thank you and to help you, to say, of course you can use my quote for marketing purposes. I'm really happy to working with you. And also remember that they are not sharing information on the process itself or the details of the process. They are just sharing information on their experience of working with you. So that helps to do it easier for them to share as well.
Excellent. She says, okay, good, thank you. And I think so far there are no more hands up or other questions on the chat. Oh, yeah, wait. I think there's one. No, that's it.
Okay, then let's move forward to finish because we are a little bit over time. Just to remind you that when we train professional coaches, we ask them to always use these closing questions at the end of their sessions and at the end of their processes. And I think as coaches, it's a good idea to also use them at the end of anything, like at the end of this webinar. So it's a good exercise for you to write down some ideas on what you learned today from this webinar, what was the most important learning today from the different things that you got, And what is your takeaway? What are you going to do different because of the information that you got today? And so do that exercise. I think it's going to be a good way to reinforce your learning and to keep it more in your mind. And of course, share it, tell what you learned to other coaches and colleagues, because always I am convinced that teaching is the best way of learning. Now, to close, I just want to show you a couple of slides. One is to let you know that the ICC is offering an executive coaching certification in Moscow, and I don't understand most of what is in this slide, but I can tell you that it's in November 7 to 12 in 2018, and I'm going to be there delivering this training. It's a 6-day training from, as I said, the 7 to the 12, and another ICC training, Natalie Vecina, is going to be also co-facilitating with me the training on executive coaching certification. And as you know, this is a level 2 certification from the ICC. And the other important information that I want to share with you is that in Impact Coaching Solutions, we are training the trainers here in the Houston area, Maria Bruder and me. We are both trainers for the ICC, and we are offering an intensive certification in Houston. So if you have colleagues or people that want to get certified as professional coaches with the ICC, we are offering a class that starts on June 26th and ends on July. And it's going to be a real international class. So far we have people from Mexico and France and maybe Poland and Paraguay. So it's going to be a very nice class. And finally, I want to leave you with this slide with all my information. If you have more questions about what we presented today, or you want to reach out, there's my email, website, and my different social media outlets. And the reason you see 2 URLs in each of the social media is because one is my personal one and the other one is the one for the company, Impact Coaching Solutions. And in our company, we do leadership development, coaching skills for leaders. We certify professional coaches for the ICC, and we also work with several assessments, including emotional intelligence. And we also have a board game to do better teamwork, the Fresh Beast game. So I'm here for any question, and reach out and chat, and I'm very, very happy to share all this information with you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Guillermo. And thanks to everyone who attended today. Remember, you're going to be getting this this presentation recorded in your email. So it will also be available in our website. Thank you very much for coming today. Thank you very much, Guillermo, for all the wonderful information you shared. We will be seeing you in our upcoming webinars. Don't forget to visit internationalcoachingcommunity.com to find out all about our upcoming events. Take care, everyone, and have a happy day. Bye, Guillermo.
Thank you, Alexis. My pleasure. And in a week, we will present exactly the same information in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking coaches.
That's right. That's right. That's our upcoming webinar. It's going to be next week, and it's going to be in Spanish. In case you have some other people who want to see this information in Spanish, feel free to share it with them. And all the information for that is also on our website, internationalcoachingcommunity.com, and you can find everything there. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and we will be seeing you very soon. Bye, Guillermo. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.